Randy Cross. This is Kevin Harlan. Great to have you with us this afternoon. The Dolphins have decided, Randy, to rededicate themselves to running the ball.
Against one of the best defenses in the NFL. Dave Wannstedt this week told his team, we will lead the NFL in rushing in the second half of the season. Ricky Williams came out and challenged himself, says, I have got to run harder.
To this point of the season, any doubt who is the MVP of the NFL so far?
Well, Steve McNair might be in first, second, and third place, but he's getting a lot of help from his receivers. Don't forget, though, folks, this is a very physical football team. It's not Air McNair.
All right, keys today for the Titans in Miami.
Two very simple ones. For the Titans, run after the catch. You get a catch against this bad tackling Dolphin defense, go with it. Miami, run and run and run some more to set up the play-action pass.
It's Brian Creasy and the Miami Dolphins against the Tennessee Titans next on CBS.
Presentation of the National Football League on CBS Sports, home of Super Bowl 38.
A crucial game for the Miami Dolphins, who are undefeated so far on the road, and the Tennessee Titans, who have won 3 straight overall. Game featuring the 2 best run defenses in the NFL. It's up next on CBS. Gorgeous day in Nashville, little wind, lots of sun, great temperatures. To the sideline we go, and Leslie Visser.
Kevin, as you know, the Miami defense has given Steve McNair trouble in the past, but you're banged up today. Dave, what is your situation at cornerback, and what adjustments will you make?
Well, Patrick Surtain, he will not start. We'll start Terrell Buckley. Pat will be able to play if we need him. We may use him some in third down situations. We're just going to get a flow for the game and go from there.
Offensively, you're on record, both you and Ricky Williams, saying you need a bigger day. What do you want from him today?
Well, yeah, we just got to come out here, particularly early, and withstand the crowd and the noise and all this stuff and get settled in and play football. These guys want to play physical football, and that's the style we play, so it's going to be a heck of a battle.
That's your kind of game. Thanks very much, Dave. Back to you guys.
Les, thank you very much. The Titans are coming off a bye following a 30-17 win over Jacksonville 2 weeks ago. Dolphins lost at home to the Colts last week. It's Miami, it's Tennessee, and here we go from Nashville. Jake Schifino on the fly from the 12 for the Titans. And then hit by Brendan Ivandejeho, and it's a 19-yard return, and he's out to about the 31-yard line. Steve McNair is the #1 rated quarterback in the NFL, and as Randy will tell you, the MVP through the first 8 weeks of the season. Veterans on the line except the center, second-year Justin Hartwig, who has moved from tackle now to center, and Drew Bennett is injured, so Justin McCarron, who is having a career season, will get the start at the wideout. It is 1st and 10 for the Titans, 31-yard line, George in the backfield, and a 43 defensive look for Miami. And McNair right to work, and outside he goes. The rookie Tyrone Calico, pushed out of bounds by Buckley at about the 41-yard line, gain of 10 and a first down. A very good Miami Dolphin defense with 2 great ends, Jason Taylor, an emerging star, Wale Ogunleye. Linebacker Zach Thomas out with a groin, a rare start for Tommy Hendricks. And in the secondary is the strength of the Miami defense. Terrell Buckley will be starting in place of Patrick Surtain.
An early indication, Kevin, this Miami defense has got to tackle better, or these receivers will run free.
1st and 10, 41-yard line. Aaron Kinney, the tight end, is on the fly, and McNair to the air once again. And this is dropped by Calico. The coverage was applied by Junior Seau. It's incomplete. It's 2nd down and 10.
You know, Calico is a good young receiver, and something that's kind of unusual for a young receiver like this. Steve McNair is a veteran quarterback, and a lot of veteran quarterbacks don't quite trust young guys. But he's told us yesterday when we talked to him that he will go to this young guy because he's got faith that this person knows, Calico knows where he's supposed to be, and when he catches it, he can do special things after the catch.
5 in the secondary for Miami, 41 of Tennessee. 2nd and 10. Eddie George stopped up the middle, and Junior Seau there once again after a gain of a yard. It'll be 3rd and 9. Now, when we talk about 3rd down with the Tennessee Titans, you're talking about the best 3rd down quarterback in the NFL.
Well, I'm not a big stat guy, especially on 3rd down, but you look at those stats, almost 70% completion, 129 quarterback rating, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, and all the credit in my mind go to 2 places. 1, the offensive line up front, and 2, the patience of Steve McNair holding the ball and waiting until he gets a free receiver down the field.
There are 7 defensive backs for the Dolphins. 3rd and 9, 42-yard line for Tennessee. Kenny, the tight end, wide. 1 of 4 receivers for McNair. A block by Hopkins going deep down the side. Caught! It's Mason in a thicket of Dolphin defenders. He was covered by Sammy Knight. Arturo Freeman was down there. Fletcher was down there. He's all the way to the 11. Let's see where they mark the ball. 12-yard line. And it's 1st and 10. It's a pickup of 46 yards on the play.
Exactly what I was just talking about. Perfect protection. Nice route. More importantly, a ball put by the quarterback, Steve McNair, where only Derek Mason could get it. Mason having a breakout year right now. His best year as a professional wide receiver.
6 defensive backs here. Robert Holcomb in the backfield. It is 1st and 10 from the Miami 12. 46-yard pass sets this up. Holcomb gets it. Brought down immediately by the piercing Junior Seau. No gain on the play. There's Jeff Fisher, the coach, who has put together a terrific ball club, along with Floyd Reese, the general manager, and Jeff Diamond, the president.
Well, Dave Wannstedt made the perfect comment about what Jeff Fisher wants on his football teams. He wants tough, physical people who can run. It's what the exact same image that Wannstedt's tried to build in Miami, but this is the gold standard in the NFL as far as tough, physical football teams.
6 defensive backs, 2nd down 10 from the Dolphin 12. And McNair with the pocket crumbling. Tyrone Calico to the end zone, diving in. It's a Tennessee touchdown.
There are 2 keys to running well after the catch. First, you have to have good moves and speed. Second, air, as in being in air with no one around you. That was more a case of a good, young, fast receiver getting the ball, using the speed, and taking advantage of the defense.
And the extra point tacks on 1 more. That is the first opening drive touchdown allowed by Miami in the last 21 games.
This is a Titans start. You start fast, then you bring the pass rush.
Good-looking drive. Calico with the 12-yard touchdown reception. McNair 3 of 4. A long pass completion of 46 yards from McNair to Mason. And here comes Travis Minor for the Miami Dolphins. A flag is thrown and is brought down by McGarahan and Darrell Hill, a reserve wide receiver, a 23-yard return.
During the return, holding on the return team number 42, 10-yard penalty. They retain possession. First down.
Let's take a look at the touchdown. Remember, Zach Thomas not starting today. Tommy Hendricks, 51, in for him. Here's Hendricks right here. Watch what happens. He's supposed to bang that crossing receiver. Everybody else going the other way. He falls to the ground. Nobody to back him up. No pursuit means 6.
We're at the 23. It's 1st down and 10. And here comes Robert Smith across the line. His flags are down. Mike Carey is our referee, and this is a great crew. Every single member of this officiating crew has been to the postseason over the last 2 years. Terrific group headed by Mike Carey, who lives in San Diego.
Encroachment. Defense number 98. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Quarterback Brian Greasy with another start for the injured Jay Fiedler. He took a beating last week, sacked 5 times. Running game only got 43 yards for him. A lot of focus on the rookie left tackle Wade Smith, and Ricky Williams, who led the league in rushing a season ago, has gone 5 straight games without getting 100 yards. Today he goes up against Tennessee's #1 run defense. 1st and 5. Greasy went out of the reach of the other tight end, Donald Lee, who is a good-looking rookie out of Mississippi State. The Titans defense with Javon Curse, #2 in NFL sacks, healthy and playing great. The leading tackler is linebacker Keith Bullock out of Syracuse with Sermon and Kalmus. And the secondary welcomes back Samari Roll's been out with a dislocated elbow. Roll grew up in Miami watching the Dolphins. 2nd and 5. And the ball's at the 28. Ricky Williams being chased outside by Bullock, hit by Tank Williams, and out of play at about the 34-yard line with a gain of 7 yards.
Now there's a good example you're going to see of Keith Bullock, the outside linebacker, wants to get physical with the tight end, 82, Randy McMichael. Takes a step down, gets trapped inside. That opens up the outside for Ricky Williams. Sometimes you get a little too obsessed with what you want to do, and you caught up by what they want to do to you.
It is a base defense for the Titans, a 4 defensive line, 3 linebacker look. That's McKnight on the move, and Greasy on 1st and 10 rolls and throws away. His intended receiver was the tight end McMichael, who was covered by the linebacker Sermon on the far side. 2nd down and 10.
You know, on that play right there, you had Peter Sermon now change places with Bullock. Sermon lined up against the young tight end Randy McMichael, and he jams him up on the line of scrimmage right there. See him jam up. You've got Kevin Carter coming from the outside, so he can't release clean. You got the linebacker Sermon jamming him, so Greasy can't hit him quick, and Greasy has to get rid of it late because he's got nowhere else to go.
Boyman is coming as a linebacker, 4 in the secondary. 2nd down 10. Dolphins at the 34. Here comes Hainsworth. He dumps it off. Greasy does to Ricky Williams, who is hit by Kalmus, the Butkus Award winner out of Oklahoma. He's up to the 43. It's a gain of about 8 yards on the play. The AFC South, interesting to look at because on top you find the Colts by a game over Tennessee.
Now, how big is that game here in a couple weeks?
Huge, absolutely.
When the Colts come in here to Nashville, and meanwhile in the AFC East, it's let's all chase New England. Miami is about the most criticized winning team in the NFL right now. For some reason, people want to figure out every reason why this is not a good football team. I think the majority of their reasons are dead flat wrong.
3rd and 2, 43-yard line. That's McMichael, the tight end, in motion, and Greasy, the quick drop, the quick throw, and it is incomplete. Coverage by Samari Roll on Darius Thompson. And the Miami Dolphins on their first possession today have got a punt.
Well, I know back in the studio we've got the biggest fan in America of cornerback play, Deion Sanders. He is going to love watching these corners. Samari Roll, well done. Reads the quarterback, reads the route, makes a quick jump, and he's about a quarter of a step away from picking that one off.
Here's a good one. Justin McCarron's deep back, awaiting the punt from Matt Turk, who had a great game last week against the Colts, and this is fair caught, 18-yard line on a punt of 39 yards. And they'll spot the ball at about the 18-yard line. He's looking up into the sun. That's going to be a tough catch in this late fall sun here in Tennessee. Touchdown pass to rookie Tyrone Calico. Titans on top. Leslie Visser, Kevin Harlan. First down and 10, 18-yard line after the Miami punt. Touchdown pass by McNair. Titans on top, 7-0. 1st and 10. And McNair to the air, almost picked off by Brock Marion. Pass was intended for Derek Mason at 2nd down and 10.
Remember the old just kind of roaming, don't have really a responsibility. I'm just going to be a center fielder. It's exactly what Brock Marion did in the middle of the field. It wasn't so much I have a near third, far third, don't get beat deep. Brock Marion's job there was to mirror Steve McNair, and I don't think McNair ever really thought he was there.
5 in the secondary for the Dolphins. They'll play that most of the day. 2nd down 10, 18-yard line for McNair. #1 rated quarterback in the NFL. Again to the air. And this time he's got Mason on the side. Hit by Madison out about the 35-yard line. Pickup of 17.
Derek Mason is running clean routes this year. That's the key. Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, says as a group, his quarterback and his receivers are executing passing-wise more crisply, and when they catch the ball, they're getting more yards than they've ever gotten before in this offense.
Now the Dolphins have gone to 3 linebackers, 4 in the secondary, and 4 on the line. They've taken out a defensive back. It is 1st and 10, 35 for Tennessee. Eddie George slicing his way and brought down by Sammy Knight. And he's up to the 43, and it's a gain of about 7 yards. Well, when you're playing fantasy sports, head to CBS Sportsline. You can join a league or start your own. Click on fantasy at cbssportsline.com.
I know 2 people you don't draft when you draft fantasy people are defensive tackles. You got Tim Bowen and Larry Chester inside for the Dolphins. Usually a big strength. That's right where George cracked that one.
2nd down and 2, 43, still 4 in the secondary for Miami. George in the backfield, and he gets the call again. Goes by Jason Taylor, hit by Terrell Buckley, crosses midfield, is to the 49-yard line. Hendricks got in there with that gang tackle, a gain of 9. They move the chains again.
That last drive, 3 of the 4 passes were to Tyrone Calico. And how often do you see people wearing Dolphin jerseys around him, especially here after Hendricks falls? He's the lonely end for 6.
3 linebackers still in there for Miami. 49-yard line. George in the backfield. 1st and 10 for the Titans. This is Frank Wycheck in motion, the multi-Pro Bowl tight end. Eddie George clogged up. And then an avalanche of Dolphins get him, including Moreland Greenwood. Gain of about 2 on the play.
You know, Kevin, one thing that happens when you play a Tennessee Titans football team is you get those early passing plays. You get hit for some big early passes, but you can't forget that the persona of this football team is still sort of centered run-wise around Eddie George. It's a big physical offensive line that matches up perfectly, I think, with this Dolphins defense. Remember last game, 2 weeks ago against Jacksonville, end of the game, this team just took over the ball, controlled it for over 10 minutes of the 4th quarter. That'll be a drive they'll look back to at the end of the season and say things turned around right about there.
2nd and 8, 47. 2 tight ends for Tennessee. Again to the air, and the 4 of 6 McNair hits Wycheck, who from behind was brought down by Greenwood, has another 1st down to the 36 of Miami.
You know, for a long time, Frank Wycheck was the passing game here in Tennessee. It was run George right, run George left, and if you can't give the ball to Eddie, you threw it to Frank Wycheck. Missed a couple games earlier this year with concussion syndrome. Came back. Steve McNair said the first game he was in there, I said, Frank, even if I force one, I got to get one to you. There's just something natural about being in Nashville and seeing McNair go to Wycheck.
36, 1st and 10. With McNair having McCarron's on the move, and George remains in the backfield, and it is Eddie George up the middle and hit by Jeff Skinina, gain of 1. And I think about the quarterback McNair. I think about him in his early days as a running quarterback, using that pocket and going left and right.
Well, if you look at his running stats from early in his career compared to what he's doing now, it'll tell you the kind of quarterback he is. Does it mean he can't run anymore now that he's only doing 10 yards, a game? No. What it means is he has such patience in the pocket now. Other times he would have run, he holds the ball, and it gets the ball further down the field than he would have run to a receiver.
8th play of the drive, 2nd down 9, 35 of Miami for the Tennessee Titans as McNair empties the backfield. And he's hit by Agunlier, and it's caught, scooped by Mason, who then is hit by Seau at the 30, gain of 5. Agunlier just about disrupted that play. But what about the way that he handles himself in that pocket? Is great presence.
He does have great presence, and that's just a clean chance by Agunlier, 93, with 9 sacks coming into this game to get a good shot on McNair. Did you see him flinch?
Yeah.
Did you see him have to move? He knew exactly where he was going with it, and it was gone before Agunlier could get there.
Now 7 defensive backs for the Dolphins, 4 on the line. A good-looking drive, 3rd and 4 from the Miami 30. Holcomb at the side of McNair is in the gun. Hand off to Robert Holcomb, blocked by Benji Olsen. diving for a first down. Tackled on the play by Rob Burnett. It's a gain of 6 on 3rd and 4. He's down to the 24 of the Dolphins.
An excellent contrast for you to watch today. They're sitting at home. Is the tackling of these two defenses. Watch how often you see the Miami Dolphins defenders kind of arm tackle and come in from the sides. I'm not saying they're not good defensive players. They have some excellent defensive players. Take a look at Benji Olsen. But the contrast is startling to me. Tennessee will smack you. Miami right now is just grabbing. I think they're going to review this. Watch the second foot. I don't think the second foot was in. I think the second foot came in down on the line. Watch the second foot. Excellent job by Calico. Watch the feet. 1, 2.
You're right. He's
Can't
on the
tell
chalk.
so much from that angle, but watch this one. This will tell you definitively. Watch the boundary. He's got it. There's one in.
And that ball's moving around a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, it's this will be reviewed. It's been challenged by Dave Wannstedt.
The ball is moving, and it looks like he stepped out.
But I'll make this point. Excellent move, excellent execution, but even better was the protection by the Titans offensive line, allowing McNair to stand there uncontested.
CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. Get more minutes, more features, more service. And by Mach 3 Turbo from Gillette. It's the world's best shave.
Well, we're in the midst of a Miami challenge on a Tyrone Calico Tennessee Titan touchdown reception.
Here's what they were reviewing. Watch the second foot. 1, 2, out of bounds.
After reviewing the play, when the receiver had control of the ball, his left foot was inbounds. However, his right foot was out of bounds, making it an incomplete pass. The challenge is upheld. Miami will not be charged with team timeout. It'll be 2nd and 10 on the 25-yard line.
It's the second foot. Possession, he's got it, but that right foot comes down with the edge of it on the other side of the white line. Say, if I'm Miami, though, great challenge by Dave Wannstedt. But Jeff Fisher's offensive line is controlling the tempo of this game. And when you have Agunlie and Jason Taylor and 2 big physical defensive tackles for Dave Wannstedt's defense, right now pretty much getting their heads handed to them, you've got an issue for Miami. It's not a matter of scheming. This is a physical issue. Dave Wannstedt mentioned to Leslie Visser earlier, we are a physical team. That's who we are. That's who Tennessee is. It ought to be a good matchup. Right now, it's a mismatch.
The back nose of the football is on the 25, so that's officially where the ball is, the 25-yard line. The Dolphins will have 4 defensive linemen, 2 linebackers, 5 in the secondary. Tom Ackerman still taking the place of the injured right guard, Benji Olsen. It is 2nd down and 10. Tight end makes 4 receivers. George at the side of McNair in the gun. And Eddie George getting brought down. Nice play by Romero on that line along with Larry Chester. Chester makes the stop. Let's send you to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, guys, Indianapolis going for the Florida sweep, having already won at Tampa, at Miami. Now today at Jacksonville, it's Manning in the pocket. Who else? Marvin Harrison, 7-0 Colts. Let's go back to Kevin and Randy.
All right, Jim, thank you. If the Colts go on to win, it'll equal their best start since 1977. Pretty something. 3rd and 10. 25-yard line. Holcomb in the backfield. And across the middle, caught by Derek Mason. Breaks a tackle on the play and then is brought down from behind by Wooden at about the 13-yard line. It's a gain of 13, and it is a first down.
Now the Miami defense is thinking run. Watch the safety. He's coming. They're blitzing. If it's not run, we'll blitz. What's that do? That leaves the middle of the field open for Derek Mason. And again, I think another good example, getting in air and not being challenged, not being tackled. The more grab attempts than there are tackle attempts.
5 in the secondary. 1st and 10, Eddie George. Up the middle he goes. And it by Scanina and Jason Taylor. It's a gain of 4. They'll mark it at the 9.
You know, the yards after the catch, whether you say it's a YAC or RAC, has really done something against this Miami defense. It goes back to your tackling. That's fundamentals. The heck with how much you make, the heck with how many Pro Bowls you go to, and the heck with how well you cover. If you can't tackle, you will have issues in the NFL.
2nd down and 6, a 7-minute drive, 9-yard line of Miami for Tennessee. Eddie George breaks a Bowen tackle and then is brought down by Scanina near the 5 on a gain of 3.
You know, a couple years back, it was very popular in New York, the old thunder and lightning thing with Barber and Ron Dane.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of the combination the Miami defense faces with Tennessee, but it's thunder and lightning in that the thunder is the running game of Tennessee. Do you bow up for that, or do you watch out for the lightning, which is now Mason and Calico and McCarron's? This is a challenge defensively, but I think being aggressive and tackling will go a long way to at least helping it.
Remember, no Zach Thomas today for Miami. 3rd down and 3. Ball's at the 5 for Tennessee. And McNair, Calico, and sheds a tackle. That was Marion, brought down by Madison. He's got a 1st down near the 2. 1st and goal, gain of 4 on 3rd and 3.
Hey, David Copperfield's got nothing on Steve McNair. He can escape sometimes out of situations that look like he is dead flat sacked. Jason Taylor, one of the best rushers in the league, can't get him down, and then you've got grabbing and more grabbing and grabbing and holding on and wishing for help. And when you're wishing for help against a good young aggressive receiver like Calico, that's going to translate into more yards after the catch.
They got George in the backfield. 1st and goal at the Miami 2. Eddie George. And he's got a Tennessee touchdown.
This is nothing up front but pure physical football. This isn't game planning. This isn't coaching. This isn't motivation. This isn't how you draft. This is just the guys up front for Tennessee looking at the guys from Miami and saying, we're better than you, we're stronger than you, we're coming and we're going to kick your tail.
And here's the extra point by 44-year-old Gary Anderson. Titans are 6-2, undefeated at home, and right now shutting out a good Miami team 14-0. Titans have scored on the ground and through the air, and they lead it 14-0. And Hendrick with the kick, and deep back Minor, and this ball will roll in and out of the end zone. A touchback to the 20, where it'll be 1st and 10. Well, first 8 games, 12 first quarter points allowed. Today 14. Hard to believe.
You can't overstate that loss of Zach Thomas's defense. He's been the heart, and they don't have it.
NFL.com and help support the military families of those heroes who have sacrificed their lives for our country. Support the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund on NFL.com. And there they are, some of our wonderful military personnel.
I flew in from Atlanta Friday with a whole group that was coming back from Iraq. So it makes you cry just talking to these young guys.
After the kickoff, went out of bounds, or in the end zone and out of bounds for a touchback. 1st and 10. Ricky Williams devoured on 1st and 10 by Robert Smith. He lost a yard on the play back to the 19-yard line. A great night of television. CBS Monday begins with Yesteryear and Still Standing. Then it's Everybody Loves Raymond and a hot new comedy, 2.5 Men, followed by CSI Miami, plus an all-new late show with David Letterman. Wow, what a lineup. Monday here on CBS, America's most watched network, with Randy Cross and Leslie Visser. This is Kevin Hart.
And right about now, Miami could use 2.5 extra men on the offensive line.
2nd down 11. Greasy pressured, dumps it off. Ricky Williams breaks a Sermon tackle and then is spun around like a top at the 26-yard line, hit by Albert Hainsworth. It is a gain of 7 on the play as
Javon Curse.
Yeah, Curse is a little bit shaken up on the play. And he has been healthy, very healthy up until this little nick right here, whatever it is.
I'd say Ricky Williams is the key to this Dolphins football team. Now, he challenged himself to run harder on that play he did, and the one before, he was looking and dancing. You can't dance against Tennessee.
Still the base defense for the Titans. It's 3rd down and 4, and Greasy airing it out down the side, and he is dropped. And a flag is thrown. It was intended for Kendall Newsom, who was just signed off the practice squad a couple days ago. Andre Dyson was covering on the far side. Newsom was a one-time practice squad player for the Tennessee Titans last year. Now with the Dolphins.
Pass interference. Offense, number 82. Timmy is declined. First down.
They got a punt again.
Let's go back to Javon Curse's last play. Here's Curse on the right of your screen. Watch him get hit and land down, right down. He gets hit in the left thigh and gets flipped up into the air.
That took back for a second time today. And deep back, Justin McCarron's, and fair caught back at the 32-yard line on a 42-yard punt. Tennessee on top, and a touchdown pass to rookie Tyrone Calico, and a 2-yard touchdown run for Eddie George on a long drive moments ago. Thursday on CBS, Rupert has controlled the game from the beginning, but has the power gone to his head? Now that the tribes have merged, will the Island King be taken down? All new Survivor. Thursday at 8/7 Central on CBS.
And it's not about being strong, it's about being a snake in that show. And here's a guy that's been strong for Tennessee, Javon Curse. He got flipped up in the air. That left thigh got hammered with a shoulder pad. He's not even wearing thigh pads, though.
5 defensive backs. First down and 10. McNair from his 32. Aaron Kenny, the tight end. Grabbed and hauled down by Fletcher. Hit by Brock Marion. Gain of 11, which takes us to the end of the first quarter. And Tennessee on the move again at their 40 numbers after 1 quarter. Wow.
Not if you've been watching.
Yeah. First and 10, we start the second quarter with Tennessee at their 44. Benji Olsen back in at right guard, and here comes McNair. Caught by Eddie George, breaks a say-out tackle, then is brought down by Fletcher after a gain of 3 to the 47. The Titans coming in have won 3 straight games, 5 of their last 6. The Dolphins have lost 2 of their last 3 after starting the season 4-1.
And that offensive line, again, McNair is standing back there as he did in both those touchdown drives. I mentioned earlier that big drive against Jacksonville might be the one they point to at the end of the year. I'm not quite sure if they didn't have a better one just now with that 16 player. McNair 10 of 13 to start this game.
Holcomb is in, second down 7 from the 47 of the Titans. They got Whitecheck in the backfield, hand off to Holcomb, cuts across, and they got him with Tommy Hendricks. He's taking the place of Zach Thomas, a loss of a yard on the play. Back to about the 45. Let's send you to New York and Jim Nance.
All right, guys, Titan fans keeping an eye on the Colts, and the Colts have been matched now on the board. As Fred Taylor scores here, 7-7 as they start the second quarter in Jacksonville. Let's go back to Kevin and Randy.
You know, Jim, I'm going to watch Fred Taylor today. He's gone 5 consecutive games without getting a 100-yard game. Last time he did it, week 3, ironically enough, against the Colts.
And I'll mention again, no Zach Thomas. Right now, the Dolphins defense is kind of like the Tin Man. Need to go to the Wizard and see if they can find a heart.
Right now, they've got 7 defensive backs on 3rd down and 8. McNair hit, dumps it off. Robert Holcomb grabbed by Junior Seau from behind, shy of the first down by a couple of yards, and is down to about the 47-yard line and a gain of 7 yards.
Now give the Dolphin defense some credit here. Nice quick move up front. Just an arm over by Jay Williams, who started that game last week against Peyton Manning and the Colts with a big quarterback pressure. Does the same thing to McNair, and that's why that one comes up short of a first.
Time to punt. That's Sam Simmons out of Northwestern, deep back, a 5th-round pick. Only 5'9", and Craig Hendrick, who's 10 years out of Notre Dame, will punt for the Tennessee Titans. This is Tennessee's first punt today. Looking up into a bright Tennessee sun. Makes the fair catch back at about the 7-yard line on a 40-yard route. Nice punt by Hendrick. Here comes that good-looking defense. It's been all Titans so far. Javon Curse back in the game.
And watch his stance. No one in the league gets lower and comes off harder trying to catch that edge.
After the punt by Tennessee, their first today from the 9, Greasy 1st and 10. Across the middle he goes. It's McMichael, who then is whacked by Sermon. The gain is up to about the 14 yards and a pickup of 5 on the play.
Well, Javon Curse, there he is in the stance going against Wade Smith. The young rookie tackle had a hard time last week against Dwight Freeney. The rookie, nice technique, good use of his hands, shuffled his feet, kept his knees bent, and stopped the All-Pro.
Greasy 3 of 7, about 20 yards through the air. He's got a second down and a long 4 here, shy of the 15, and they run Williams with nothing there. I mean, he was whacked by Bullock and hit by Samari Roll and plugged up by Tank Williams. Nothing going. He lost about a yard on the play, about the 14-yard line where the spot will be.
I know you're sitting there in your living room at home and watching this on TV. You can tell the difference attitude-wise between these two defenses.
And they're both good teams with good records.
They're both excellent defenses, but this Tennessee defense today is so much more physical and just more fired up.
5 in the secondary for the Titans. It is 3rd down and 5, 14-yard line for Brian Greasy, and here they come at the blitz from Tank Williams outside the Ricky Williams. Shoved out of bounds by Peter Sermon. He's up to the 17-yard line. Gain of 3, well shy of the first down. 3 Miami possessions, 3 consecutive punts.
They're throwing short. They're throwing quick. They don't want to give the rush of Tennessee a chance to get to Greasy. They're down 14-0. I see nothing wrong with this. Norv Turner, the offensive coordinator, is staying with his game plan, being patient. The last thing you want to do in these hostile areas is panic, because then the tide can turn into a landslide.
McCarron's deep back getting the Turk punt, which is wobbly and short and out of bounds. Here comes the starting receiver today, Justin McCarron's. Turk went in there and tried to take off his head. And the guy that snapped the ball, Jeff Brow, made the tackle. 15-yard return, 40-yard punt.
See the face mask on Turk?
That was huge.
That's the last thing I'd be trying to hit anybody with, because you're basically hitting them with your nose.
Centrino Mobile Technology. KFC. For a fresh way to eat better, you gotta KFC what's cooking. And by Volkswagen. On the road of life, there are passengers and there are drivers.
Randy and I were at that Parthenon yesterday. It's gorgeous. After the Miami punt, good return inside the 44. Make it the 43 of the Dolphins. Tennessee 1st down and 10. They've scored a running touchdown with George, a touchdown pass McNair to Calico. Here's a pass to Derek Mason on 1st and 10. Tackled on the play by Buckley. It's a gain of about 8, and he's at the 35 of the Dolphins.
I thought your toga there at the Parthenon was a little much, but here's what Tennessee does. Look at this, folks.
At least that was
follow with me with this. Titans offense, 66, 12 times they've gotten the ball in opponents' territories. 8 times they've scored touchdowns. Wow. You want to know why this team is 6-2? Why McNair's rated so high? Why Jeff Fisher's team is so highly thought of? When they get the chance, they take advantage and they score touchdowns.
5 defensive backs, 2nd down short from the 35, about a yard and a half to go, and it goes off to Chris Brown, who is tackled by Sayal, and now he and Hopkins go at it.
Well, somebody for the Miami Dolphins defense isn't putting up with it the way they're playing, and you'd expect this out of a junior Sayal.
Loss of 3 on the play. That handoff went to rookie Chris Brown, who is out of Colorado, and he was hit by the Dolphins. Brown is 6'3". He's kind of built like Eddie George.
Or kind of built like Junior Seau, about the same size, but he loses that matchup. You know, if this is what it takes for the Dolphins, then good for Junior Seau. They need some fire. They need some pizzazz. He needs 10 other guys in that defense to start playing like he's playing.
2 linebackers, 5 in the secondary, 3rd and a short 5. 37-yard line of Miami for McNair. He had Holcomb in the back. That ball batted down. And Jason Taylor, who stands about 6'6" and led the NFL in sacks a season ago, leapt up, swats it away. And now it is 4th down for Tennessee.
Here's the matchup. Jason Taylor going against Hopkins, 72. You don't always have to get to the quarterback to affect the quarterback. If you can't get by him, get your hands up. If you're a young defensive lineman out there, that's a good lesson for you. Get those hands up in the quarterback's face.
Simmons awaits the Hendrick punt. 2nd consecutive punt for the Titans, who have scored the first 2 times they had it. The touchdown pass to Calico, the touchdown run by George. And Hendrick will try to place it And chased by Hill into the end zone. 37-yard boot. Back to the 20 it'll go. Dolphins down by 2 touchdowns. Special activities earlier here in Nashville. A reminder, this Tuesday is Veterans Day, and the NFL's relationship with the military has always been a very special one. This year, the Dolphins, Titans, and the entire NFL are involved in a special new program, Families Helping Families, to aid those military families who have lost loved ones overseas. We at CBS Sports join the NFL teams in thanking all of our military men and women for their service to our country. Also, Titans owner Bud Adams, a World War II veteran, here today watching with his wife. Tennessee just punted for the second consecutive time. Titans have won 8 consecutive games, the second longest home winning streak in the NFL to Kansas City. On 1st and 10, Greasy with the flags thrown and the whistles sounding. They stop that play. 8 consecutive home wins for the Titans, second longest in the NFL. Chiefs, by the way, are leading Cleveland at home today by about 4. 14-10 was the last score I saw. That is good. 14-10. Here's a look at Mike Carey, who runs a surfboard company, makes surfboards in San Diego.
Dude. Dude, what's the call?
He's a wonderful
Offside
guy.
defense, number 92. The 5-yard penalty remains first down.
Speaking of surfing, let's surf to New York in our studios in Jim Nantz.
All right, dudes, I heard that. Cleveland and Kansas City, and back come the Browns with a touchdown. James Jackson filling in for William Green, suspended today, and it's 14-10 Chiefs. But let's go back to Kevin Randy.
Interesting, you know, Cleveland coming off a bye, and last season when they came off the bye, they went 5-2 and made the playoffs. The Browns did. Kansas City atop everybody at 8-0. 1st and 5 at the Titan penalty at the 25-yard line. The fake to Williams, who gets a chip on Carter, and Greasy going long and caught. Newsom at the 39-yard line, beating Samari Roll. They're going to mark him down at the 38.
Well, he was down by contact.
37-yard pickup, his first career catch. He was just activated a couple days ago off the Dolphin practice squad.
Dave Wanstead told us last night, don't be surprised if we go to this guy early. And Brian Greasy gets him the ball often. Led the Europe League in punt returns and kickoff returns, so you know once he catches it, he can run with it. But right there, he showed you with the hands he has. Good layout, good concentration, wonderful catch.
Mark it at the 38 of Tennessee. Williams in the backfield for Greasy, where it's 1st and 10 for the Miami Dolphins. Here comes Curse. Knocked the ball away. It's loose. And Hainsworth jumped on it. It looks like Tennessee has vacuumed it in. They've got it. It's the game's first turnover. Greasy fumbled last week, too.
Yeah, and he fumbled from the same side. Right, Smith, I talked about that young tackle working at left tackle right there. See how quick he got his left shoulder turned? He went parallel or perpendicular to the line real quick. And Javon Curse, you cannot give a quality lineman like Dwight Freeney or Javon Curse this kind of break. Chop on the arm. Was not moving forward because it never got a chance to go forward. Maybe part of the shoulder thought about it, but the arm was pinned to his side by a good strip.
One of the few times today the Dolphins have been in the base. 4 linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 in the secondary after the turnover. 43 1st and 10, Eddie George. And here comes the gang all on him. Scanina, along with the Agunlier, and a loss in the play of 2 as Eddie George couldn't find it. Back to the 39.
Now watch the shoulders. Here he is right here. Watch his shoulders suddenly point upfield. You can't have your shoulders pointing upfield like that. You have absolutely no power. You can't get into the defensive end. Dave Wanstead knows your young offensive tackle is going to make some mistakes. And again, like last week when Dwight Freeney stripped Brian Greasy a couple times, it cost him.
Now 5 in the secondary, 39-yard line of Tennessee. 2nd down and 12. Eddie George hit by Hendricks and brought down. Hendricks has taken the plays of Zach Thomas today. Gain is up to about the 44, and it's a gain of 4 yards. Benji Olsen, as we mentioned the last series, is back in, and in this series as well. Now here's another third down for Steve McNair.
Remember last time we talked about Steve McNair on third down, he went about 40 yards down the field to Derek Mason, who made a beautiful fingertip catch. They're not all down the field. We've talked about run after catch, and they've done it. We've talked about the tackling, or lack thereof, being a key to run after the catch. McNair knows it. He knows if he throws short, he's got the talent around him to get the ball to the first down marker.
7 in the secondary, third down and 9. Holcomb in the backfield with McNair. From his 43, here comes Agunle. There goes the pass, knocked away nicely on the play by Arturo Freeman, intended for tight end Aaron Kinney. And so Tennessee cannot cash in on the Miami turnover, and they've got to punt again. Third straight punt.
Nice play by Rob Burnett, getting in McNair's face and matching him in the defensive backfield. Arturo Freeman coming in there. Little fire, little sizzle in these Dolphins in this series.
The defense has made some adjustments as this game has gone on, because they look much better now than they did in the first 2 series today.
That's why I mentioned that a 14-0 lead on some teams would be kind of goofy, and gee, you're getting desperate. They're doing a good job. They're making adjustments. They're not getting desperate.
Hendrick to punt. Simmons is deep back. Good rush put on, but they don't get him. No flag on the play, although he was bumped. And Simmons with the fair catch at about the 14-yard line. 42-yard punt. Tennessee has scored on the ground and through the air.
This is sponsored by Campbell's Chunky Soup. Dinner that fills you up right. Make it Campbell's instead. And by Nextel Coast to Coast Walkie-Talkie. Nextel. Done.
Next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern, the Deep South's oldest rivalry rocks on when Carnell Williams and the Auburn Tigers tangle with David Green and the Georgia Bulldogs on the Home Depot SEC on CBS. With Randy Cross, Kevin Harlan, capacity-filled Coliseum in downtown Nashville. Dolphins just fumbled. Tennessee couldn't do anything with it, so they punt back. Miami begins again at the 14, 1st and 10. Chambers has not caught a pass. Handoff on 1st and 10 goes to Ricky Williams, and he is brought down by Rocky Kalmus. It's a gain of 2 up to about the 16-yard line.
And on that first play, they go right behind the rookie Wade Smith. But the key to this game has been Tennessee and Steve McNair hanging in and taking advantage of the Miami defense's early kind of lull. And they were lulled. I think that's being nice, because physically Tennessee just took it right to them.
2nd down and 8 to go. 16-yard line. Williams against the #1 run defense in the NFL. Just 7 yards today. It's Greasy dumping it out. Williams has it, chased by Smith and brought down by Robert Smith. Moving well on Ricky Williams. A loss of 8 yards on the play. Back to the 9.
Yeah, how about Robert Smith? Watch the defensive linemen up front and how they do not react. Go, peel out. That's perfect reaction. That's being well coached. That's being well drilled. That's having a discipline to execute what you've been taught.
I don't think Tennessee has broken out of their base defense all day long.
No, they haven't. We expected to see Javon Kearse moving all over the field. Now, right now, he's on the left side with Kevin Carter, with Carlos Hall at the right end.
3rd and 14 from the 10. It's Greasy hit. Leans back into the field of play at about the 1 and is brought down there. They had Carlos Hall and Kevin Carter and Robert Smith again.
Okay,
it's a loss of a couple. In fact, make it a loss of 8, and it is the 2nd sack by Tennessee today.
Carlos Hall, speed rush, working against Wade Smith. Shoulders up the field. You have got to keep your shoulders parallel to the line of scrimmage for as long as possible. Wade Smith's shoulders are absolutely perpendicular and then parallel the wrong way.
Took the punt, and that was just about grabbed. Here comes McCarron's. And fair caught, 45 of Miami. They begin in Dolphin territory again. 43-yard punt. So the Dolphins have had 3 3-and-outs. They've had the ball 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 possessions, 4 punts, and a fumble. That's McGarrihan. Scott McGarrihan used to play for Miami. In fact, he played in their camp, was traded to Green Bay in the summer, let go by the Packers and gobbled up by Tennessee. Tonight on CBS, it was a murder that had already been solved, but now new evidence could prove they've got the wrong man. Get into TV's most watched new drama, Cold Case. Tonight after 60 minutes here on CBS.
Kevin, we mentioned last time Tennessee got the ball in Miami territory that they had scored on touchdowns on 8 of their 12 possessions. And then Miami promptly had their best defensive series, stopping them right away. They've got to match it. They have got to stop the Tennessee offense right here.
5 in the secondary for the Dolphins, 45 of Miami for Tennessee. George in the backfield. Here's McNair, flush from the pocket. Has got to get to the 35 and grabbed by Taylor and smothered at about the 42-yard line on a gain of 3.
You know, the one thing I noticed really different about Steve McNair when we talked to him? No air casts, no bandages, no ice bags.
No, nothing. No black eyes. No, nothing.
For the first time, he's having an unbelievable year numbers-wise. But, folks, as you take a look at his numbers, keep in mind another thing. He has never been this healthy through the halfway point of the season. You've always heard about how tough this guy is. Well, look what happens when he stays healthy. He can practice and execute his game plan. Those are the numbers he puts up.
42 of Miami. It's 2nd down and 7. Eddie George. Nice block in there by Hartwig, who is the center. He blocked Bowens, and they go up the middle, and then Larry Chester, who was injured and didn't play last week, comes in and makes the stop. It's a gain of 3 at the 39.
And, you know, I'll mention again about Steve McNair. Don't downplay. We in the media spend a lot of time talking about how tough Steve McNair is. And, yes, he's tough as blazes. But not having to drop out of practice now. I talked to Mike Heimerdinger, their offensive coordinator. You know, what's the key? What's the key? It's the first thing he said. He goes, Steve's there every day in practice. He can throw to the receivers. He can execute the offense. That's why you've seen this jump in his numbers and the jump in the production of his receivers.
3rd and 4, 7 defensive backs for Miami. The pump fake, Agunlie can't get him in time, and here's a dump off to Wycheck, who's got the first down. Grabbed by Freeman, hit by Wooden, and Jay Williams is down to the 34-yard line, a gain of 6 on 3rd and 4.
And there's Mike Heimerdinger, the offensive coordinator, with the game plan covering his face. And you saw what Steve McNair took another shot. This Miami defense earlier wasn't quite getting there. You know, he scrambled out of the pocket. They delivered a blow. That time, Agunlie got there in time to hit him. That was not late.
Holcomb in the backfield, 1st and 10, 33 of Miami. McNair to Holcomb. Former St. Louis Ram, drilled by Bowens on that line along with Junior Seau. Loss in the play of about a yard. And the market back at the 34.
Loss of a shoe, too.
Yeah, losing everything. And the game. Monday, Dave's All New with Norm Macdonald plus Jack Hanna's Animals and the latest Survivor Castaway. Then Tuesday, don't miss Madonna's return to the Late Show. Dave's All New all this week here on CBS. 2nd down and 11. Titans have scored on the ground with Eddie George and through the air with Tyrone Calico on their first 2 possessions today. From the Dolphin 34. 2nd down. McNair winds up, going deep. It sails over the head of Mason. Covered by Brock Marion. Incomplete. 3rd and 11 for Tennessee.
And that's the element to this offense that people have seen more of. And for the defense's sake, they say we've seen just about enough of it, is that hold your breath kind of part of the offense. You know, you don't hold your breath when Eddie George is pounding the ball inside. You don't hold your breath when Steve McNair is dumping the ball off to a tight end so Junior Seau can hit him. You hold your breath when that rocket arm starts launching those things down the field. He's gone to 4 different receivers today on 3rd down.
3 defensive linemen, 1 linebacker, 7 in the secondary. It is 3rd and 11 from the 34. McNair, look at the time. Outside it goes. Running back Holcomb, grabbed by Buckley, and he's to the 29, 28-yard line. It's a gain of 6 shy of the 1st down. That will take us to the 2-minute warning. Dan, Dean, and Boomer with scores, highlights, and news. The Nextel halftime report as we've reached the 2-minute warning here. Here is Craig Hentrick, who, by the way, has thrown 3 passes out of this formation this year. It is 4th and 5, appearing to be a punt. The ball is at the 28 of the Dolphins.
Remember, Gary Anderson's kicking here now in Tennessee. Doesn't have the range that Nedney used to have.
It is a fake. Here's Hentrick winding up, going deep into the end zone, and it is out of the end zone.
Good call on the fake.
I liked it.
You know, they were talking way too much.
Yeah.
You know, even when they had Hentrick out there with Billy Volek to try an alleged long field goal, there's too many receivers talking to each other. I mean, the fans love it, but I'm sort of surprised they just didn't go ahead and try a 47, 46-yard field goal.
You normally just see him try to get the first down, rarely go to the end zone and try to just throw it up.
That's why you don't have a punter throw that, because he was worried about hang time. He had great hang time on that pass, but not much accuracy. Good hang time, Craig. But let's get it to him. Yeah, oh, I downed it inside. No, it's not the point, Craig.
Yeah. That's hilarious. First and 10, 28-yard line. That's where they take over on downs. And here is Ricky Williams going out of the backfield. A pass to McMichael.
Plenty of time.
Gain of 8 on the play. And he's up to about the 36.
About a minute 40.
3 timeouts remaining for the Dolphins. Second down, 2 to go. Ricky Williams has the first down. Grabbed by Kalmus up to the 40, 41-yard line and a pickup of 4.
Keep your eye on whoever matches up at right defensive end. It's going to be Javon Curse on this case, going against the rookie Wade Smith.
First down and 10 from the 40 for Greasy. On the pocket grab, fumbles again. And it's grabbed by Hainsworth. Robert Smith knocked it away. Hainsworth vacuums it in. Tackled by Ricky Williams was Hainsworth. It is the second turnover, and things could not have gone worse in this first half for the Miami Dolphins. Second time Greasy has fumbled.
The old Saturday Night Live show, Rosanna Dana said it the best. If it's not one thing, it's another. If it's not this, it's that. And for Brian Greasy, if it's not Javon Curse or Kevin Carter, it's Carlos Hall or Robert Smith. The offensive line for the Miami Dolphins just gets pushed right back into Greasy's face. That's bad ball maintenance by Brian Greasy. Now, the protection was poor, but Brian Greasy has got to put that ball away.
24-yard line on the turnover. First down and 10 for McNair. 6 defensive backs for Miami, and here is McNair. And he throws to Justin McCarron. He is wide open, and he is in the end zone for a touchdown. That is the second touchdown pass by McNair today.
Dave Wanstead watches his defense playing, let's say, listlessly or cluelessly. No one covers McCarron's. Football clue, cover the wide receivers. Quarterbacks like to throw to them.
That is the 5th straight game that the Titans have scored inside 2 minutes in the first half, and the extra point by Anderson is in. And Tennessee cashes in on the Brian Greasy fumble, and McCarron's grabs his 3rd touchdown reception of the season.
These stats of Steve McNair's are getting ridiculous for Tennessee, but then again, so's the Dolphins defense.
Elizabeth Smart was just an ordinary girl.
I'm going for a run.
Until one night changed everything.
Minor grabbed and brought down by Wells, who was a reserve linebacker. Ray Wells out of Arizona.
Here's McCarron's. Now watch the hole that opens up right around here. You be the judge. You watch the crossing defenders. McCarron's comes underneath. You know, I was never exactly a defensive wizard. That's why I coach offensive line for my 7th grade team in Alpharetta. But I think you want to cover those guys when they go across the middle of the field. Just a guess. Nice job running everybody else into the end zone, but you got to think there are safeties and linebackers that have got to have that intermediate zone.
30-yard line after the kickoff, handoff. Ricky Williams busting free, and that's the Williams we saw a season ago. Shedding oncoming tacklers, finally hit by Bullock and brought down near the 45. Picks up 14 yards on the play. That's what they want. Coming up in the next till halftime report, Jim, Dan, Dion, and Boomer have scores and highlights. Kansas City in a close game with Cleveland, among many stories in the NFL. It's coming up on the next till halftime report.
You know, Dave Wanstead is a very even-tempered individual, very classy individual. In fact, I think in the Miami area, and maybe even on this Miami team, they've kind of waited for him to explode with some frustration and the things that have happened, especially offensively. You couldn't pick a better time than maybe halftime today for your first explosion. I mean, we're talking Mount St. Helens. I would do something biblical. I'd go nuts.
Well, they've not trailed at halftime most of the season until last week. They trailed 9-7, and then they trailed at 8, 2 consecutive games. They have not had to come back many times from big, deep deficits, and certainly not down by 3 touchdowns.
Well, you'd want to have something to hang your hat on and say, you know, gee, is it this, is it that? At least we know we can do X. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's an X. Jay Fiedler's just now coming back from his injury.
But he's the third quarterback.
He's the third quarterback today.
1st and 10 after the timeout. 44-yard line. It's Greasy, and it is caught. Darius Thompson grabs it. He then was hit by Andre Dyson. It's a gain of 9 to the Titan 47.
On grass in this situation, I think you've got to get down to about the 35-yard line for Mari's range.
2nd down the yard, and Ricky Williams yanked down by Peter Sermon. McGarrahan was there along with Lance Schulters, the ex-49er, on a gain of 2.
Almost looked like Ricky Williams there got drugged down by the dreads.
Which you can do, and it's legal.
Yeah, Mike Carrera, head of officials here in the NFL, had a statement, I think it was a couple weeks ago, that the hair is basically part of the jersey. And Ricky has got some serious hair. I mean, Tommy Hendricks on defense comes in second, but watch coming in right there, yep. Lance Schulters. Yeah, Lance Schulters gets him he gets a lock.
Oh yeah,
there he is, right there.
Peter Sermon got him with the hand there.
Yeah, you know, people say you're not going anywhere with a hand on your jersey. I bet you're not going. You're going a lot shorter period with somebody grab on your hair. We saw that earlier in the opener.
We did. Edgerrin James was the guy then, and Edgerrin James is
he cut his locks.
Yeah. This is the #1 run defense.
See, he's got a pretty good
NFL. He does.
His is skinnier though. Maybe his long, not quite as thick.
1st down, 45-yard line. Here comes Curse, and Greasy throws incomplete, looking for McMichael, covered by Schulters and by Bullock.
Talk about a non-factor coming into this game, Randy McMichael. If you had to pick, you know, one person besides Chambers that this defense for Tennessee was worried about, you know, Brian Greasy getting the ball not only to Chris Chambers, who's an excellent wide receiver, but Randy McMichael is one of the new kind of prototype young tight ends in the NFL. And as much as he lit it up last week, he's been very, very quiet along with Chris Chambers so far in this first half.
Officially to 44, it's 2nd down and 10 for Greasy. Here comes Carlos Hall. Here comes Kevin Carter. There goes the flag, and there goes the pass. Downfield, what a pitch. Grabbed by Darius Thompson inside the 15-yard line at the 13 as he works on Shoulders, but the flag is down.
It's going to be a hold.
It's going to be against Miami. That was a terrific catch, and to be quite honest, Darius Thompson has been a disappointment.
Offense, number 71. 10-yard penalty remains, 2nd down.
Hold against Todd Wade, the right tackle for the Miami Dolphins, but it wipes out this catch. You know, he's been a little bit of a disappointment earlier in the year, but there's nothing disappointing about that effort. If you wanted something to look back on, I talked about something to hang your hat on. I'd hang my hat on that kind of effort if I'm Dave Wanstead and the Dolphins. I'd hang my hat on the intensity of a Junior Seau, and I'd try to build on those.
Back of the football's on the 45 of Miami. Now it is 2nd down and 20. It's Greasy buying some time. There's McMichael, and he was drilled. Lance Schulters got right into the 2nd year tight end. McMichael out of Georgia. Meager gain of 3 and a timeout taken. That is the final Miami timeout. They're going to spot the ball about the 48-yard line.
That's something I think even young receivers, you know, I talked about coaching a 7th grade team this year. Even the kids at that level have to know when a quarterback like Greasy delivers you the ball and you're facing the quarterback. It's that concentration ability to catch the ball, because you know when you turn your head, there's a good chance you're going to catch a face full of safety like Lance Schulters.
When Fiedler gets healthy, and he's the 3rd quarterback today, but it's his 3rd consecutive miss. When he is healthy, do we have a quarterback controversy in Miami?
I'd try him at tackle. It's not a quarterback issue. I think this passing game has worked effectively with Brian Greasy. I just think Brian Greasy has not gotten the support from the offensive line up front. But there's something you cannot ignore when it comes to Jay Fiedler, and it's right there. They're 32-14 with that scrambling style, and I think against a team like Tennessee, that scrambling style, that ability to make stuff happen, would be a much bigger weapon against this defense, because what this defense wants is they want a non-scrambler. They want to sit and duck. They want a quarterback they know exactly where he'll be, so they can all go have a meeting at him.
It's 3rd and 17, and the Titans have put 3 defensive backs back at the 10-yard line as Greasy will run up, wind up, and throw deep. And it is almost picked off incomplete. McGarrihan got a hand on it. Zeros on the clock. First half has come to a close. McNair with 2 touchdown passes. Eddie George with a 2-yard touchdown run. Tennessee is undefeated at home this year. That's the end of the first half. 21-0 Tennessee. Coming up the next halftime report. After this message and a word from your local CBS station. Steve McNair touchdown passes and Eddie George touchdown run, and the defense is pitching a shutout. CBS Sports coverage of the NFL will continue after this word from your local CBS station. First half, 21-0. Andy Cross and Kevin Harlan with you. What do you make of this first half?
It's total dominance by the Tennessee Titans. I mean, the deepest that Miami has penetrated in Tennessee territory is a Tennessee 38. They've only run 6 plays in Tennessee's territory. They've been so physical on the Tennessee side. They've had such great tackling, good pursuit. The numbers you're about to see are going to tell you just part of the story. And the time of possession, 20:43 to 9:17. The passing yards, the first downs. But, you know, in spite of all that, I mentioned it going away to the end of the first half. I don't think these Miami Dolphins, with that much leadership and that much seniority and that many veterans, are out of this thing.
Here are some of the numbers for the Tennessee Titans, and Steve McNair playing like the MVP many people think he is.
I'd say he was the MVP of this game. I mean, McNair has done well. The receivers have done well. But those 5 offensive linemen up front have just schooled the front 7 of the Miami Dolphins. They're the MVPs of this game for half of it at least.
So the Tennessee Titans, who are 3-0 at home, have won 8 straight games at home dating back to last year. We told you Miami so far is undefeated on the road. Travis Minor is back, awaiting the kick from Craig Hendrick. There are 4 unbeaten NFL teams on the road, and the Dolphins one of them. One more thing to recall about this game, these 2 teams could be there at the end, and this game could have significant ramifications at the end of the season in a tie-breaker scenario for playoff slots. We'll begin the second half in Minor from about the 6. And grabbed and brought down nicely by Ray Wells, who is out of Arizona. Good-looking rookie who was waived from San Francisco, picked up by this team. Now the Dolphins and their numbers in the first half offensively.
And Brian Greasy, decent completion numbers, but they don't tell the story of the siege and the pressure he's been under. Ricky Williams challenged himself this week to run harder. He's been fairly effective at 4 yards a crack, but I haven't seen the run harder part. And with no Chris Chambers in this passing game and no Randy McMichael, Williams is leading you.
Well, McMichael jumped. Rob Conrad and Williams in the backfield.
First down.
Well, you know, Tennessee has not been as penalized today as they have in the past. Only 2. That's only the second on Miami.
Well, Tennessee is, generally speaking, not a highly penalized football team. Now, I think a lot of that goes back to the discipline of the football team in general, the style of football they play. They just don't make mistakes.
Back to the 18. We're now at his 1st and 15, and they send Williams out of the backfield, and Conrad remains, and Greasy dropping back, and outside Darius Thompson, met by Andre Dyson. 27-yard line, gain of 9.
Well, if you're wondering out there what kind of a third-quarter team are the Miami Dolphins, well, put it bluntly, not very good. But if you pick a time to break out of the box and add 7 to that 13 so far, this would be the time to do it. Brian Greasy got himself good yards back there, set up a, second and about 7 yards. This is a manageable distance.
27-yard line. Second down and 6. And that's Williams, grabbed by Bullock. Brought down at the 25. Loss of a yard on the play.
Well, talk about backing up what you tell somebody. Keith Bullock told us yesterday that his play was going to be very, very physical. That's exactly what he's done. He came in at that right inside linebacker. Peter Sermon was in up near the line of scrimmage. Bullock was back, and he brought it, and he has brought it all day long.
3rd and 7, 26 for the Dolphins. It was a base defense for Tennessee. And Greasy down the side, looking for McKnight. Incomplete, covered by Andre Dyson. And that'll do it. And the Dolphins will begin where they left off with a punt on the offensive side.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Jeff Fisher's defense didn't just throw a little bit of the old 46 at Miami and Brian Greasy. Dusted off Fisher's old defense from the Chicago Bear days and his days with Buddy Ryan in Philadelphia, and threw it at him on 3rd down.
Turk the punt, and McCarron's waving it off and out of bounds as Simmons and the ball go out of bounds at about the 35. 39-yard punt. Tennessee gets it back. And loose and limber on the side after the Miami punt on their first second-half possession. They give it back, 35-yard line for Tennessee. Then they've got it 1st and 10. 6 defensive backs for the Dolphins. And here comes Eddie George, met by Hendricks, who's taken the place of the injured Zach Thomas. And Eddie George rams it by the 40 to the 41, picking up 6 on the play.
If you're the Miami Dolphins defense, get used to that look, boys. You're going to see nothing but those 5 offensive linemen coming at you. And a heavy dose of Eddie George backing up that first half performance. 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing, 2 passing.
Dolphins have now brought in another linebacker, so a 4-3-4 look, 2nd down and 4. 41-yard line. Wycheck is in motion. George is in the backfield for Steve McNair. Blitz by Marion. And McNair outside. McCarron's the grab, hit by Buckley. Spun around at about the 47-yard line, picking up 12 and a 1st down.
My favorite analogy when it comes to an offense like you're seeing in Tennessee right now, and you've heard it a lot, Kevin, and that's a boxer. A good boxer who knows how to stay on his toes, jab, and throw punches. They're kind of like Roy Jones every other fight but last night.
Yes.
You know, a guy that can stay on the toes, he can flash that left, he can hit you with that strong right with a KO punch. That's his offense right now. They are in rhythm.
47 of Miami for Tennessee, where it's 1st down and 10. Eddie George, flag is thrown. Jason Taylor was in that backfield pretty quick. Looked like somebody may have moved, though. Maybe it was Wycheck.
That was a false start.
Yep.
False start. Offense number 89. It's a 5-yard penalty. It's still 1st down.
Coming up next, the doubleheader action continues as Drew Bledsoe and the Bills will battle Bill Parcells' rejuvenated Cowboys. And a small group of you will see the Jets take on the Raiders. Check local listings for the game in your area.
Yeah, we talk about matchups in this business a lot. Watch that matchup between the Buffalo offensive line and that Dallas defense. Bill Parcells inherited a very, very fast defense, and they're in a bigger, slower offensive line in the league than the one that protects Drew Bledsoe. They will come at that offensive line from all angles.
Base Miami defense, 1st and 15, back at the 48 for the Tennessee Titans. McCarron's in motion. George fumbles the ball. Bobbles it back up, and Greenwood kind of knocked him off his stride, as did Hendricks, and they knock him astray. And so the gain will be of about a yard. 2nd down.
Well, Miami and Jason Taylor just saw what they need. They need that kind of a turnover.
Yep.
They need a little something. They need some bounce. They need a big break here, something they can take advantage of.
Eddie George today, 13 carries and 40 yards. Ball's at the 48, where it's 2nd down. And about 14 to go. Foul play to Eddie George. Dances outside. Hit once by Sammy Knight and then finished off on the side by Tommy Hendricks. A gain of 3. They'll spot the ball at the 49-yard line of Miami.
You start seeing little flashes of the Eddie George that I think Jeff Fisher's expecting. in the second half of the season. You know, in the past, you've seen Eddie George start hard and finish slow. This year, they've given him a break. He hasn't had to carry the team as much. And Jeff Fisher fully expects by the end of the season, you're going to see a stronger Eddie George than you ever have in previous years.
3rd down 11. 7 defensive backs in for Miami. 49-yard line of the Dolphins. Robert Holcomb in the backfield with McNair. Again with time and the pass. Caught by Mason. He was drilled by Madison. 39-yard line, shy of a first down by a couple. I'm telling you, Madison put a licking on Mason. I mean, so much so that way up here in the press box, we could hear it and feel it.
Listen.
Oh.
And you know what that was? There was a guy for the 49ers back in the 50s by the name of Hardy Brown. And he made the shoulder tackle absolutely lethal in the NFL back in those decades. And that's what Sam Madison, look at that smile. He brought the whole deal, and he brought the shoulder. It was legal, and it was perfectly timed. Great job, Sam.
He's played in 4 consecutive Pro Bowls, and the Dolphin defense holds. And Hendrick, who had a fake the last time, will punt here. Simmons will wave it off. And it will take a bounce and get down. It looked like Brad Castle was chasing it. Look at this, down to the 1. 39-yard punt. Everything is going the way of the Titans.
I'd buy lottery tickets right now if I was a Tennessee Titan.
Easy.
That is the original home of the Grand Ole Opry here in beautiful Nashville, Ryman Auditorium. We just think of the wonderful talent that has performed in that magnificent building all these years.
Those CMA awards on CBS last week were great.
They were terrific. At about the 2-yard line, it is 1st and 10 for the Dolphins. They're trying to dig themselves out of a deep hole. And look at the avalanche of Titan defenders led by Rocky Boyman out of Notre Dame all over Ricky Williams. No place to run, no place to hide, and a loss of a yard.
Yeah, you also have a slight matter of guys like Hainsworth and Bullock making the play in the backfield, and Robert Smith.
8 carries and 23 yards. Boyman will check out. 8 carries and 23 yards for Ricky Williams against the top-rated run defense in the NFL. Now 2nd and 11 at the 2.
Look out, Brian.
Greasy dumps it outside. Ricky Williams one-on-one with Tank Williams. Banged by Curse. Knocked off his horse at about the 7-yard line and a gain of 6.
Now, we saw Sammy Knight make a wonderful tackle on the last possession by Tennessee. We've seen Junior Seau make some good plays, but have you kept track of this whole deal and how much better this defense tackles for Tennessee? Listen to this one.
Ooh, that was Curse who delivered that one.
Yep. There's a defensive end that can run. That's why they call him the Freak. From all the way to the other side of the field, he gets a little piece of Ricky Williams.
5 in the secondary for Tennessee. The ball is at the 7. It's 3rd down and 5. Miami has not converted on 3rd down today. Intercepted by Dyson. Dyson has his 2nd interception for a touchdown this year.
Remember earlier, we saw Brock Marion play a little center field. Well, here's a right fielder, Andre Dyson, playing that left cornerback position. Zone defense, sitting back, looking at the quarterback the whole way. Breaks in front of the receivers, takes it for 6.
And Anderson puts on a 7th. Andre Dyson, a career starter, his 3rd career touchdown, his 2nd touchdown this year. He got right in front of Darius Thompson.
If you're writing worst case scenario for the Dolphins, welcome to their world.
Quick kickoff, and Travis Minor brought down by reserve wide receiver Eddie Berlin. A 22-yard return up to the 37-yard line.
Watch these two right here, and watch Dyson. He's first to break on the ball. This is great film study and excellent coaching. Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, look at him break on that pass. He's seen it on tape. He's seen the pattern. He's seen the formation. He got what he was expecting. And the reason it happens is, you know, the coaches set you up and you execute.
That's Tennessee's Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator. Tennessee's 4th defensive touchdown this year. 37-yard line, 1st and 10. Ricky Williams going ahead. Peter Sermon brings him down. 44-yard line, gain of 7.
See, a play like that in these circumstances is going to work where it didn't work earlier. And you know why. I mean, it's like Brian Greasy right now has got a great big piece of meat hanging around his neck, and the defensive linemen for the Tennessee Titans are all dogs that haven't been fed in a couple days. And they're going after that meat. You give it to the running back, they'll let him go by.
Ball from 44 where it's 2nd down and a handful, and Ricky Williams is brought down. Kalmus, Atkins were there, along with Bullock. No gain on the play. At the bottom of your screen, you're seeing some of the stat leaders in Week 10.
And if you're a fantasy football participant, you live and die with these things right here. Goodness knows the way I drafted. I mostly die with mine.
You may die for another reason today with your cold.
I'm the only one, I think, in America. It's got Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Rod Smith, and I'm 1-8.
Newsom along with Chambers will be the wideouts. It's at the 44. It is 3rd down and 3. Looked like Kevin Carter might have moved. A flag has gone down. A 3 down for Miami. And here's Greasy looking for McMichael. Covered by Sermon and completed about the 35 of the Titans on 3rd and 3.
Offside defense, number 93. That's a 5-yard penalty, and the enforcement results in a first down.
Kevin Carter lines up at left defensive end right here. Jaquay Thomas is inside. Watch the motion right there, the inside tackle. I mean, Kevin Carter, he comes off early. That's a little bark from Greasy. And they need all the victories they can get right here. It's a little victory. See if he can piece a few together.
Base defense, and here comes Ricky Williams on 1st and 10. It's a gain of 4 from the 49. There's more hitting going on after the play.
The ball's
about the,
that's why.
The 47-yard line of Tennessee. They're still digging for it. Miami's already had turnovers today, numbering 3.
Well, the ball carrier was down on top of people.
Yeah.
I think that was the main issue.
The person he was down on was Tank Williams in the secondary. Williams has already fumbled 5 times this year. That's tied for the most of any running back in the NFL.
Hey, he's running hard. He said he would. He comes down. See the hands down. He's not down yet. He keeps running.
Good for him.
Just because everybody else is standing around, Ricky knows, doesn't mean he has to stop.
2nd down and 7. Titan 48. 43 defense for Tennessee. That's Williams in motion out of the backfield. And they go to Rob Conrad. Great block by Todd Perry, but then the good play of Javon Curse snuffs it away, but they're close to a 1st down at the 40-yard line of the Titans. It's a gain of 8.
You know, you hear the term zone blitz a lot. Watch Javon Curse drop off, gets in his stance, drops off into the zone blitz, and his job is to be a backside linebacker and pursue. Doesn't really wrap him up, but he sure delivers a heck of a blow on Conrad.
Nice illustration. It's fun to see a guy like that. Curse can play down, can play up. I mean, he's all over the field.
They have a lot of athletes on this Titans defense. You saw the special feature by Leslie Visser. She was all over it.
1st and 10. Curse jumped early here. Quick pass, quick slant, caught by Chambers, and is to the 31. The flag was thrown. That play was stopped.
Offside defense, unabated to the quarterback. 5-yard penalty, it's still 1st down.
Curse.
And that comes back to the old, you know, I'm going after that fresh meat. There's Javon Curse right here, working against Wade Smith.
The Dolphins continue to move. This drive began back at their 37. 1st and 5 at the Titan 35. Travis Minor in the backfield with Conrad. This is Travis Minor. Bounce it outside, grabbed by Curse. And dragged down with no gain on the play. Minor's 9th carry of the entire season. Falls at the 35. Tuesday on CBS. There was a place All-America loved. Now take a trip back to Mayberry with the original cast. Join Andy Griffith, Ron Howard, Don Knotts, and Jim Neighbors for a very special reunion. The Andy Griffith Show reunion back to Mayberry. It comes your way Tuesday at 8, 7 Central here on CBS.
Who'd ever thought Opie'd become the best director right now for movies there is in this world.
Second down and 5 as Greasy throws to Chambers, who was tripped up initially by Dyson and finished off by Shoulders and Williams. Gain of 11, moving downfield to the 24 of Tennessee.
I mentioned something about little victories.
That was Chambers' first catch of the day.
Granted, it's 28-0. That's how you start winning little victories. You get a catch to Chambers. You still got McMichael, I believe, with 1 catch.
Right.
I mean, they just flat have taken away the best 2 receivers at Brian Greasy's disposal. He's had to hold it, and they've made him pay.
Base defense, 1st and 10, 24 of Tennessee for Miami. Here comes Greasy, and it is intercepted by Samori Roll on the deflection off Newsom. Greasy can't make the tackle. Here goes Samori Roll. Back today after missing the last couple games with a dislocated elbow. Brought down by McMichael at the 47-yard line. And now that is the 4th Miami turnover. The 2nd interception off Greasy.
You're going for the ball. You're Kendall Newsom. You got to finish it off. On a day like this, stuff like this happens.
Present a world premiere movie that takes you behind the headlines of the Elizabeth Smart kidnapping. From the 9-month ordeal to her emotional rescue. Don't miss the Elizabeth Smart story. That's tonight at 9, 8 Central on CBS. Brian Greasy. 2nd down and 1 from the Miami 44. Brown remains in the backfield. The tight end Meyer is on the move. And here comes the 6'3" running back Brown. He's got a 1st down into Madison. Spins into Brock Marion. At the game tackle at the 35-yard line on a gain of 9. He's a good-looking kid out of Colorado.
Well, it took about 8 of them to tackle him there. One thing Miami's had today, they have had some mistakes. Whether it's protection or lapses thereof that have turned into fumbles, not controlling the ball, being read by a quarterback, returning in for a touchdown. And when things go bad, tips turn into interceptions back the other way.
And with that interception, Tennessee has taken it from Roll's pick all the way to the 36 of the Dolphins, where it's 1st and 10. Rookie Brown remains in the backfield. Dolphins in a base defense. Brown hurdles a defender, then brought down by Hendricks as he flies to the 29, a gain of 7 on the play. This is the 2nd all-time leading rusher at the University of Colorado. Chris Brown, well, 6'3".
Yeah,
just like
6'3", 219.
Eddie George, not as heavy as George.
Well, these Tennessee fans are going to learn to love him. I mean, this guy has got some serious speed. How he fell all the way to where he did is a mystery.
3rd round.
This guy lit people up at Colorado. It seems like every time I, turned on a scoreboard thing on a Saturday, Chris Brown was running for huge yards, and they get him in the 3rd round.
4 in the secondary, 3 linebackers, 4 in the defensive line. 2nd down, 3, 29-yard line. Brown remains in the game. And with the call. And again, high steps his way into Junior Seau. Again, that defense without Zach Thomas today. 25-yard line, close to a 1st down. We have seen the Dolphin defense, 4 defensive linemen, 7 defensive backs. 3 defensive linemen, a linebacker, 7 defensive backs. I mean, they have tried. Dave Wanstead has tried every conceivable defensive combination.
Well, his defensive coordinator, Jim Bates, upstairs, he's out of cards.
Yeah.
He's out of combinations.
It's a tough way to be.
The one thing he doesn't have in his pocket, he doesn't have Zach Thomas today. And you hate to say it was just because of one guy, but the pop and the sizzle and the fire and the heart was missing out of this defense. As much as Junior Seau wanted to carry this defense, and as emotional as he was at times, he wasn't carried along by the rest.
Eddie George back in, couple tight ends at the 26-yard line of Miami. 3rd down and a yard. McNair, George. There's a block by Miller, but Miami's defense closes the door. Looked like Jay Williams and Junior Seau were there. Also, Patrick Surtain did not play today. 4 Miami turnovers. McNair 2 touchdown passes. Eddie George a touchdown run. Dyson an interception return for a touchdown. All Tennessee pitching a shutout against Miami. We'll return to Nashville after this message and a word from your local CBS station. Our entire CBS crew beginning the 4th quarter. 4 turnovers by the Dolphins today. And the last one has set up this drive where it's 4th and 1 for Tennessee. They got Chris Brown, the rookie, in the backfield, who gets the handoff and then is hit. And there's Seau and Bowens and Hendricks. They got him.
Yeah, they didn't get the first down. The ball will go back over to Miami.
On downs, good defense by the Dolphins. They trailed 28-0 on 2 McNair touchdown passes.
Well, that would officially be 1 in a row for the Miami defense.
And Tennessee could not cash in on the interception by Samari Rolle. This is Ricky Williams on 1st and 10. Trying to cut the corner. And there wasn't a lot there. Peter Sermon brings him down after a gain of 3 near the 30-yard line. Here is our NFL poll. Who's the best wide receiver in the game today?
Well, first half of the season, I got a factoid for you. Torrey Holt right now, 63 catches, 975 yards after halfway.
75.
He's on a pace to surpass Jerry Rice's all-time record. Now, Chad Johnson's not on that list from Cincinnati, who's had some spectacular plays, but best first half has to be Torrey Holt.
Conrad in motion, 2nd down and 8. Looked like someone moved early, and here comes Greasy outside to Chambers. Grabbed by Rolle and by Tank Williams. And he's up to the 49. It's a gain of 19 yards and a first down. Rolle has got a dislocated elbow that is healing, and he's been a little ginger the way he's tackled today.
You see that left arm?
Yeah.
He's got that big brace on there. He completely dislocated that thing inside. You can see that brace right there sticking out. He's not exactly an Adonis build-wise. He's built for speed.
He's got to get to the 42 and then brought down. Curse was on him along with Carlos Hall. There was no place to go, no gain on the play, and so they got a punt. 4th sack on Greasy today, and they have not done much on 3rd downs over the last 2 games.
And 4 sacks doesn't even tell the story of how much pressure Dave Wannstedt's quarterback's been under, and as a direct result, 10% conversion on 3rd down.
Now 0 for the last 15 on 3rd down. Here is Turk to punt. McCarron's is deep and wants a fair catch and grabs it inside the 10, surprisingly, at about the 7-yard line. A 43-yard punt. Titans get it back. Leading 28-zip.
Where those are guitars, and they play fiddles, not violins.
After the Miami punt, 1st and 10. Robert Holcomb grabbed by Buckley and hit on the play by reserve linebacker Corey Jenkins, a rookie. It's a gain of 1 up to about the 8.
And Miami will sink down to 5-4 in those standings. New England's got a week off after that dramatic Monday night win last week against Denver. I would like to point something out, though, folks. For all the stuff about great records you see, I would remind you the last 3 Super Bowl representatives of the AFC were 4-4 at this point.
How about that?
So don't put too much stock in. You got to be 7-1 or 7-2 or 6-2 or 8-0 at this point to get to the Super Bowl.
2nd down and 9 from the 8. Holcomb again. Got away from McGinley and brought down by Buckley at about the 12-yard line. And a gain of 3. Here's the South.
When you talk about a race to the finish, you know, everybody's worried about Kansas City being are they going to be undefeated, and will they then clinch the division and back off? Dan Marino on the NFL Today brought up a great point today. You know, Indianapolis at 7-1, and as you can see today with Tennessee about to go 7-2, I don't see too much cruise in Jeff Fisher's football team, and they're definitely in Nanny and Tony Dungy's. So they're going to have to take that to the wire, I think, in Kansas City if they want home field advantage.
Tennessee's the best team I've seen this season in the AFC so far.
This is the most complete game we've seen by far.
We've seen 4 Kansas City games. We'll see you next week. 3rd down and 5 from about the 12 for McNair. Holcomb and hit by Junior Seau. Runs ahead for 2 yards. It'll be 4th down, and Tennessee will have to punt. There's the North and Baltimore at 5-3, and they were 3-3 just a couple weeks ago, so they got a couple in a row here.
You watch. First week of the playoffs, somebody's going to Baltimore for a wild card game. You watch with Brian Billick and that allegedly boring football team. do in Baltimore.
With a rookie quarterback.
Rookie quarterback, excellent running back, and Jamal Lewis carrying him. Excellent defense.
Hendrick will punt. Titans today got a couple of touchdown passes, a touchdown run by George, an interception for a touchdown by Dyson. 4 Miami turnovers. Great punt by Hendrick. Simmons at about the 38. 50-yard punt. Nice tackle is made downfield by the long snapper, Canamato. He is from Miami, playing against his hometown team today.
Where's the line between you and everyone else?
30 or more points in 5 straight games. And interestingly enough, Miami, they led the NFL coming into today in the fewest points allowed per game.
And Kevin, you had a good cheer out of this crowd just before we came back from commercial when they announced that Indianapolis right now is trailing Jacksonville.
After the Tennessee punt, 44-yard line, 1st and 10 is Greasy with a little play action looking for Conrad, who is covered in the flat by Bullock. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And tonight on CBS, they present a world premiere movie that takes you behind the headlines of the Elizabeth Smart kidnapping, from the 9-month ordeal to her emotional rescue. Don't miss the Elizabeth Smart story. That is tonight, 8 Central, here on CBS. 2nd down and 10. Chambers and McKnight, the 2 receivers, 44-yard line. Ricky Williams in the backfield, still and Greasy at the helm. Intercepted by Bullock. It is the 5th Miami turnover today. Bullock nabs it. His 1st interception of the season, the 5th of his career. And Greasy continues to struggle.
Look at Bullock the whole way. He's on his receiver, and he's on Brian Greasy watching him.
5 Miami turnovers, a season high.
This is the most complete team in the NFL.
McCarron, 40-yard line, 39, grabbed by Hendricks. And a gain of 18 yards on the play. Billy Bullock is out of Fresno State, made the team as a rookie free agent, didn't play last year. He's played twice this season against Carolina. Houston now playing for his 3rd game this season.
I tell you, you measure quarterbacks by how they perform in what are perceived to be big games. Playoff games, Super Bowl games. He's been on those stages and he's shined. And in a regular season big game like this, and this was, make no mistake, a big game made into a yawner by a good defense, and Steve McNair rising to the occasion.
Chris Brown is in the backfield, the rookie from Colorado, 39 of Miami, 1st down and 10. Look at him take it downfield. Running into Brock Marion. And a tackle made by Corey Jenkins, gain of 9 on the play. Michelle McNair, the wife of Steve.
Well, last week during the bye, Steve went down to the farm.
645 acres.
There's a great story in the paper about him getting up at 7 in the morning, getting on his tractor and riding around and checking up on everybody. And
sounds like Brett Favre.
He couldn't stop being a quarterback even when he was home on the farm.
And he's healthy. Isn't it great to see him with health mid-time on the season, because we've seen him many times and he is so banged up. 2nd down and 1 from the Miami 30 for Bullock. And they throw it again. Chris Brown, and to the 27-yard line. Grabbed on the play by Hendricks on a gain of 4, and he's got a 1st.
AFC West, I wouldn't bury Denver yet. I think you can pretty much nail the coffin shut on Oakland and San Diego.
Oakland, to me, is the most perplexing story in the season this year.
I think they're just flat the most disappointing football team in the NFL. I mean, when you can't do a decent imitation of the Arizona Cardinals or the Detroit Lions, you know you've fallen a little ways from the Super Bowl.
26-yard line, 1st and 10. Base defense with the Dolphins, 4-3-4. And Brown, Hendricks brought him down. He was hit initially by Moreland Greenwood at the 28. Loss of 2. There are some interesting games around the NFL today. Some possible upsets that are in the making. Jacksonville, number 1, is leading the Colts by a point.
How about Tampa Bay? I bet you Carolina did just what the Niners did. They just took it right and smacked Warren Sapp in the mouth.
See that 34-20? To me, that's the Chiefs' Achilles heel. Their defense still a little bit shaky.
Not too much. Not too much. I think they're good enough with that offense to make up. And Houston, you see, has got a field goal lead on Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's driving in that game.
2nd down and 12 from Miami's 28. Rookie Chris Brown finds the hole, dragging Sammy Knight with him for a first down, or close to it, at about the 17-yard line. As you take a look at the NFC North.
There's those Detroit Lions who whooped up on the Raiders last week. You want to talk about 4-4 teams you better not ignore? How about the Green Bay Packers? You're a little prejudiced. You're not allowed to vote.
Okay.
When your dad runs that organization. But the Minnesota Vikings are not going to last that high on the hog. They flat will not.
Lost 2 straight games at home. Giants and then Green Bay. Sam Anderson, no Sertan today in the secondary. Buckley took his place. 3rd down and 1. And they're at the 17. Quarterback keeper for Volek. That nose into the pile. And
that's going to be close. It's going to be right at it. Have to get the ball to the 17-yard line or just inside the 17-yard line for that first down for Jeff Fisher. And, you know, Jeff Fisher's a class guy. I would fully expect a running play on the next down, not a field goal. As much as I'm sure the Anderson and the group would love to get extra 3 points in there.
And keep that string of 30 or more points going, because they've done it 5 consecutive games.
Well, the most important stat on that scoreboard in the 28.
Yep.
It's the 0.
Right. They are going to measure.
That's because Jeff Fisher asked for it.
Yeah.
They weren't going to, and he screamed in from the sideline that he wanted that thing measured. That's his right.
Jeff Fisher played for the Chicago Bears back in the early 80s.
What a reflection. You know, people talk about teams reflecting their coaches. What a perfect example. You know, Jeff Fisher was a tough physical ball player who played with, I think, the best defensive back in the history of the NFL, Ronnie Lott at USC. Lott's going to have his number retired next Monday night by the 49ers. I mean, what a group. Dennis Smith, Jeff Fisher, Ronnie Lott. Like I said earlier, though, look at that numbers. 30 in 5 straight games. They've got the 0, but they're going to go ahead and tack on 3, I guess.
It's going to be 30 and 6 here in a second. 5.5 to play in the game. 35-yard try. Anderson, the kicker, oldest active player in the National Football League.
And that's saying something with Morton Anderson out there.
It is 6 consecutive games that the Titans have scored 30 or more points, a franchise record. 31-0. They've scored every conceivable way. They've gotten a field goal. They've gotten a touchdown on defense. They've gotten some on offense, and they've been great. Well, tonight on CBS, if there are doubts about whether Jessica Lynch was truly a hero, there are none about the GI who saved her life. Meet him tonight on 60 Minutes. Followed by Cold Case. Then CBS presents a story that you won't want to miss, the world premiere movie, The Elizabeth Smart Story. Tonight right here on CBS, America's most watched network. You had a chance to fly up from Atlanta, and on your flight you had a chance to meet some military personnel.
A lot of the soldiers flying up here to Fort Campbell right outside of Nashville. One of the soldiers on landing was about crying. Kind of everybody looked at him sort of funny, and he said, I've been in Iraq for 8.5 months, and I've got a 2.5-month-old baby I haven't seen. And I didn't go down to baggage claim. I went right out and stood there and watched all those families greet the soldiers coming home. They're home for 2 weeks, and they're back in Iraq again for another 9 months.
After the Anderson field goal, here comes Travis Minor on the subsequent kickoff. Beckham couldn't bring him down, and finally he is yanked down on the play by Jake Schifino, a reserve wide receiver, a 30-yard return. Here's Schifino. He is out of Akron. Most of you will see Buffalo and Dallas. That's going to be an interesting game with Bledsoe, who played for Parcells at New England. And here are the Jets in Oakland. Some of you will see that. Sage Rosenfels now comes in the game for the Miami Dolphins. First time he has played all season. Jay Fiedler, by the way, is the third quarterback today. Outside the 27. Minor in the backfield. 1st and 10, and Travis Minor gets it. And he is brought down by Bullock after a gain of 3 up to the 30-yard line. Rosenfels is out of Iowa State. All right. right, let's take a trip up to New York and our studios with Jim Nance.
All right, the Titans' rival in the division, Indianapolis, in a real struggle here at Jacksonville. Earlier in the fourth, Leftwich going long. He will find Jimmy Smith for the lead, although Vanderjagt has just returned the lead to Indy. 23-21, back to you.
How about this, Jim? Leftwich throwing a touchdown pass 8 straight games. His first 8 games in the NFL. That's an incomplete pass here by Rosenfels. Leftwich has played 8 games in the NFL. His first 8 games, he becomes the 3rd quarterback in NFL history, well, since 1970, I guess, when these two teams, these two leagues merged, to do so. That is a pretty impressive number for Byron Leftwich.
I would imagine, see Brian Greasy there, number 14. I imagine a quarterback wearing number 13 for the Miami Dolphins might also be on that list. Dan Marino sitting back in New York in the studio.
Exactly right, yeah.
He was a touchdown machine. You tend to forget the stats that guy put up.
3rd and 7, 30-yard line. Minor in the backfield. Snap from McKinney, who's taking the place of Ruddy, and outside it goes to Minor, who spins, and he was partially knocked by Eccles, who's in the game. The Bullock finished him off on a gain of 5. And he is up to about the 35 and he'll have to punt. Dallas, I'm not sold yet on the Cowboys. They got a great record, but I'm not sold on them yet.
How about the New York Giants? Can they play 2 weeks in a row? They're trailing Atlanta 20-7.
Wow.
I mean, do they just not care, or do they want a new coach? That's how you get it.
Every season, Fossil is on the hot seat. Here's Turk's punt. And a good one. Fair catch is signaled for and allotted to Justin McCarron.
I mean, I think the Miami Hurricanes would be favored by a touchdown over the Falcons.
I don't know.
Not after the last couple days, right?
Yeah, 2 games.
Even then.
Next weekend, the PGA Tour on CBS returns when top tour stars include Greg Norman, Mark O'Meara, Rocco Mediate, Lee Jansen, and many more team up at the Franklin Templeton Shootout. So one of the nice things about this game for us is to come to Nashville. We always love to come here. It was a perfect weather weekend here in Tennessee, and the fans and the people were very hospitable.
Just starting to not be summer.
Yeah, it's
a little brisk.
Just gorgeous, though. Just about 55 degrees. And kickoff today. Last shutout was against Dallas, 31-0. That was a Monday night game, if I'm not mistaken. That might have been a Monday night game. Billy Volek has it. First down and 10 at the 17-yard line. Chris Brown. And Romero brings him down on that defensive line. Well, the executive producers of the NFL on CBS, Sean McManus and Tony Petiti. The coordinating director, Larry Cavallina. Today's game produced by Bob Monsbach. Terrific job, Bob. And directed by Bob Fishman. Bob Fishman, he's from the Miami, Boca Raton. Bob, thank you. The coordinating producer of CBS Sports, Harold Bryant. The associate director of today's game, Fred Johnson. Broadcast associate, Jason Ross. Jason, thank you. Technical manager, Doug Fleetum. We also call him the banker. Technical director is Dennis Stone. And the audio supervisor, Pete Adams. Good group. Thank you, guys. Great job today. 2nd down and 8. And here comes Brown. And he was hit by Hendricks and brought down by Sammy Knight after a gain of a yard. Well, let's see here. Carolina losing last week to Houston, by the way, 14-10, still holding on to a lead over Tampa.
It's 20-14 in that game.
Carolina.
Carolina. Cincinnati has pulled ahead 34-27 or 31-27 on Houston.
That's going to set up, if Cincinnati wins, a terrific game with Kansas City next week in Cincinnati. 3rd down and 7 from the 21. So Tennessee will go to 7-2, and Miami will drop to 5-4. With this game today, Volek to Brown. And dragged down by Hendricks, who played at Michigan. Gain of 3. We had a nice visit with this kid last night. There's a high school in Miami. School budget wouldn't allow to buy state championship rings. He dug inside his pocket. Did Tommy Hendricks? Paid for half of them for this kid, for this team in the Miami area. Pompano Beach.
Ely High.
Ely High. Timeout. 2-minute warning. From Craig Hentrick. And Simmons is deep back. And the rush was good, and the punt is away. And out of bounds at about the 41-yard line.
The game 2 of the doubleheader coming up here on CBS. We got a good one with Buffalo at Dallas. Phil Simms and Greg Gumbel and his crew down there looking at that, and Brent Jones and Gus Johnson out there in Oakland for the Jets and the Raiders. Somebody's got to win that Jets-Oakland game. Buffalo-Dallas is going to be size versus speed. Don't miss it.
From the 41-yard line, it is 1st and 10 with Sage Rosenfels. Under center, Travis Minor again. Chased by Lamont Thompson. Brought down by Brad Castle from behind at the 40-yard line. It's a gain of 19 yards and a first down.
Well, we've said it a few times, but I think it bears mentioning again. You know, Miami very uninspired, didn't tackle well, but these Tennessee Titans came out and took it to Dave Wanstead's Miami Dolphins, and they have a very favorable schedule going down the road.
Rosenfels on 1st and 10 down the side and incomplete, looking for Simmons, covered by Beckham. Yeah, I'll tell you what, this shutout is very important for this defense.
Well, Leslie Visser did a feature on the defense today on the NFL Today, and like I said earlier, she was all over what makes this defense so good. It's the attitude, it's the speed. Jim Schwartz, the defensive coordinator, and Jeff Fisher, the head coach, have just molded this defense into kind of a hybrid. You know, what do they do? I tell you one thing they do. They bring speed, and they knock the devil out of you every chance they get.
2nd down and 10 from the 40-yard line. Rosenfels, flag is thrown, and Newsom with the catch, grabbed by Eccles at the 36-yard line. Gain of 4. Dolphins have turned it over a season high 5 times today. 2 touchdown passes by quarterback McNair. Eddie George, a touchdown run.
Illegal formation, offense, only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. The 5-yard penalty remains 2nd down.
I don't know where the Dolphins, we'll talk about that in a second, but here are the best records since week 6 of 2002.
And the reason we say week 6 of 2002, okay, should be 17-3 now with this win. After 5 weeks, Tennessee was 1-4 last year. Bud Adams, the owner, came out and generally about as close as he's gotten. He ripped his staff about not having his team prepared and them not playing very, very passionately. And ever since then, this team has just been on a tear.
2nd down, 15, 45-yard line. Rosenfels throws. It's caught by Donald Lee, the tight end, hit by Ray Wells, the rookie linebacker. And he's down to the 39-yard line. A gain of 6. It'll be 3rd down and about 9 to go.
We looked at Tennessee's schedule, and let's take a look at Miami's schedule, because you look at theirs now, it's a little bit different. There's not too many 1- and 2-win teams on their road. They get Baltimore, who's a tough one. Dallas, obviously tough. New England again. Philadelphia. Doesn't get easier for the Dolphins and Dave Wanstead. They better grow a backbone back.
3rd and 9 at the 39, and Rosenfels downfield, caught by Newsom, grabbed on the play by Eccles, and cracked into by Thompson. He is down to the 22-yard line. It is a 1st down. This is the deepest penetration by the Dolphins today, and trying to knock that shutout out of the defense of Tennessee. Jim Nantz and the crew are awaiting us in New York, and we'll send it off to them. You're probably going to catch the end of another game, but maybe not. You'll get some scores, highlights, then we'll send you off to the 2nd game of our doubleheader.
There is still some serious action going on around the NFL, and they'll set up that great Buffalo-Dallas game as well as that Jets-Oakland game. One of those 2 teams out there in Oakland today is going to be going away. When you get to 7 losses, you can pretty much stick a fork in them.
Where does Miami go from here? I mean, how do they build on what has been 2 pretty tough defeats to the Colts last week and then slaughtered by the Titans today?
Different ways, too. I mean, they lost in a different way last week. This week, they were physically manhandled by the Tennessee Titans. Dave Wanstead told Leslie Visser at the very beginning of this game that, hey, Tennessee's a physical game, but that's okay. That's what kind of football we like. We want to be physical. Well, in physicality, they got an F. Tennessee got an A+.
21-yard line, 1st and 10 with Rosenfels in Tennessee territory. Deepest penetration today. Rosenfels throws, caught for a touchdown. Donald Lee makes the grab, his first career touchdown reception, 21-yard catch, and the shutout is gone. And that will tick off that Tennessee sideline. And for Miami, it's something to hang your hat on.
Well, Donald Lee had some nice receptions last week against Indianapolis. They were focusing so much on McMichael, it opened up the passing game for Lee. That's very simple. Tight end lines up on the right side, goes right straight down the seam, and the quarterback hits him. That's pitch and catch.
That was a 5-play, 59-yard try, $1:31 off the clock. The extra point by Olindo Mare is in. And the shutout is gone for the Tennessee Titans.
Right straight up the seam. There he goes. And there's the pass. Very simple, very well executed.
Like Lamont Thompson, the safety was a little late in getting there. They may have had a linebacker on him as well, and that was Wells. Or Castle. They were both in the vicinity. On that drive, the Dolphins did convert a third down, and now over the last 2 games, they are 1 for 17 in third down conversions. And you will not win many games with that kind of rate. So the Tennessee Titans will win their 4th consecutive game. They have now won 6 of their last 7. The Dolphins have lost 3 of their last 4 after a 4-1 start.
To expand on what you said earlier about where do the Dolphins go from here, because obviously the Titans are going up from here. Dave Wanstead and his football team, you know, they've got a lot of leadership. They've got a lot of good veterans, Sayal, Thomas, Greasy, Chambers. I mean, they've got some strong leadership on that football team and some excellent athletes. At this rate, I think you just go back out, you say you're a physical team, you come out next week, you better prove that you're a physical team, because teams will come after you after a performance like this. So it's very simple. What do? You go back to basics.
Mane with the onside kick, and it will go batted out of bounds actually by Holcomb of Tennessee. This will be Miami's first loss on the road this season. And they were one of 4 unbeaten teams on the road, and that will now go to the side. Tennessee will be 4-0 at home, and they have now won 9 straight games at home dating back to last year. And this is the first Tennessee win over Miami
under Jeff Fisher.
Since 91.
Yeah, Jeff Fisher's 0-5 against his football team.
And Volek will go to a knee. That'll be it. Big day. Steve McNair, 2 touchdown passes. Eddie George, a touchdown run. And interception return for a touchdown by Andre Dyson. A season-high 5 Miami turnovers. Tennessee, no turnovers today. For Randy Cross, Kevin Harlan saying so long from Nashville. The Titans have beaten the Dolphins 31-7. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 38. Let's go to Jim Nantz in New York.
All right, thank you, fellas. So the Titans hit the 30-point mark again. That's the first road loss of the season for the Dolphins. Tennessee improves to 7-2. Meanwhile, they're in a timeout down in Jacksonville. The Colts leading here 23-21.